On a long back stretch of road, three teenagers went partying after a prom. The car suddenly spun out of control and crashed into a tree at the corner of Sand Canyon Road and Warm Springs Drive. The only girl in the car begged for help but could find no one to help her, and she finally died at the scene. Today, that area is said to be haunted. People have reported that a young woman runs through the trees with her face and body badly injured, looking for help, and then disappears into the night. This is the story of the ghosts of Sand Canyon. I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not a paranormal investigator. I'm not trying to create like this haunt YouTube channel either. I like motorcycling, and I like all forms of motorcycling, and I like all forms of adventure that you can take on motorcycling. I just happen to love local folklore and legend. Sometimes it's fun to combine the two. I've done it a couple of times. I did it on the Texarkana case when Poison was in Texarkana, Texas. That was the Phantom Killer. I kind of investigated that. I did that with On Happy Camp, and I just did it with the Tree of Death. I'll put both of those links so that you can check out those videos too. If I'm not those things, if I'm not a paranormal investigator and I'm not a ghost hunter, then what am I? So I'm just somebody that's curious, really, about local legend and lore. You might call me a legend tripper. So one of my main concerns when I'm investigating something is respect, because no matter how far-fetched something might seem or how far in the past it might seem, there's people that are connected with it. There's always some kernel of truth to this stuff, and since there is, people can be affected by it. It's why you get a lot of pushback sometimes when you go to these places and start asking questions, or even just hang around. Some people don't want to be bothered by it. They don't like the idea of it. It does bother them. They don't believe in it. They do believe in it. They're hiding something. Who knows what is in their heads? So the best thing to do is just be respectful. And because of that, sometimes I will leave out the names of the people. Sometimes the names are already out there. These days, research is king. With the internet, you can go and you can find facts, you can find opinions and go on forums, and you can get a lot of information from the internet these days, which just wasn't possible a long time ago when a lot of these legends were born. I'm quite a skeptic, but I do remain open to a lot of these things. I just believe that science is one of our greatest gifts, and you have to use that first. I think what we're talking about here typically is the supernatural. A lot of people argue about what is real and what is supernatural, or maybe it's just our lack of understanding of it. I'm not here to determine that, though, and that is a can of worms. If there are ghosts, they don't just come out at night. Daytime is absolutely a time for ghosts. It's not just a nighttime phenomenon. Almost every paranormal researcher will agree about that. So that is a major myth. So without further ado, let's just take the motorcycle and let's go and just have a look and see what the ghosts of Sand Canyon have to say. So I'll just quickly show you today's setup. I'm using this Boundary photo cube, and inside the photo cube, and I'll put a link to Boundary's website, I've got my Nikon Z6, I have the Atomos Ninja 5, and I have a Sennheiser lavalier set up. On my motorcycle, I have a tripod, and that is all I'm going to use. I am bringing a backup microphone, which is on this camera that I'm using right now, which is a Canon EOS R. And so we're going to take off. Here we go. But we're at the corner of Warm Springs and Sand Canyon. And this is supposedly where, in the 80s, a couple of kids, at least 2, maybe 3, were coming from a prom or were out partying and crashed here. The girl didn't die right away, and she went and sought help and was unable to find help and perished. And today they say that she still haunts this area and that she runs up to cars begging for help and then disappears in a prom dress. The more I looked into this, the more I found out that she died alone. She crashed at this area by herself and was under the influence of alcohol and may have died instantly. Other people said she didn't die instantly. Consequently, there was a guy within that same year that died, and he crashed near this area, if not this area, and he also was under the influence of alcohol. He was her prom date, but they did not die at the same time. Now, where the area of impact is, I'm not 100% sure. It could be this road here, where this guy's parked behind me, whoever he is. It could be this area, this tree. Some of this may not have been here 30 years ago or however long ago it was. Or it could, conversely, be this area over here. That tree. So we're going to walk over there. Could it have been this tree? And could it have been that they were coming from that direction over there and hit this tree? It's a big tree. And it would make sense that if they were coming that way, would crash into this, because you can go to the opposing lane, but anything can happen in a crash, obviously. So I'm just going to look for signs of impact on this tree. I don't see anything, but again, that was a very, very long time ago. So here is the sign. I'm going to walk back over here. When I get over here, it's kind of a spooky little area. I'm looking at this tree too to see if there was ever any impact that's obvious, and it definitely looks like there was a trunk that came out of here that's no longer there, but that could be for a number of reasons. So if you're coming from this direction and hit it down this road, let me show you, like this car that I hear coming, that car that's sitting there, if it was coming here, it could conceivably bounce into that tree. That could definitely happen. At this point in time, I'm really not 100% sure. It is a matter of public record, so there's probably a way to find that out. But the main thing is that do we really care so much about the accident? If there actually was an accident, that's the main thing. And the second main thing was, is it haunted here? Again, I'm not a quote-unquote sensitive. I'm just, sometimes I have overwhelming feelings about things, but like I said, I'm not a paranormal investigator. I'm just a guy that likes to check stuff out. And I'm looking around and I am just, maybe I'll just hang around here just a little bit. See what I can figure out. See if I feel anything. I do know in one of the other videos that this sign was in it, but that's a common sign. You know, I just want to say that if I feel anything at all here, it's just a sense of not being welcome. Like, just go. Like, I mean, that's the only thing I really feel here. But it could be just because there's neighbors that are used to people stopping by here And although I haven't seen anybody look out their window and sneer at me yet, it's just a feeling of like, just, we don't need you here. That's the feeling I get. I don't know what that was, but it sounded like a siren. I'm gonna pack it up and go home. Take care of each other. Keep rock alive.